What we'd really like is more of a quantitative approach with this hand, right? I mean, it'd be nice if you could use a bit of 4-0 like you do over a 1-0 opening. And say, hey, partner, are you min or max? Because if partner's closer to 12 than to 14 for that opening, then slam is probably not a very good proposition. But the problem is once we found the spade fit, we've now set a key card suit, right? So as soon as somebody bits 4-0, that is now key card. This gets into some territory, and the little. I know that this is not quite as tangible for you, but one of the hard things, and we're going to look at this with minor wood. Sometimes you want to probe and you want to find out some more information, and maybe you even want your partner to take control and become the captain.
I want that every single game.
But so what gets really awkward is sometimes you end up taking control of a hand that maybe you're not that well positioned to take control of, and and once you start asking for key cards, right, this gets to be a runaway train.
So if they would bid 4 spades, that would show a stronger hand, and then you might proceed to.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, I'd like, I'd like to get some more information. I mean, I'd like to get, maybe something like a 3 diamond or a 3 heart bid, where I can find out about a card in partner's hand, to tell partner something about where you live. 3 diamonds, I think the opener probably has the ace of diamonds. Now, this is not, it's not. Usually, we're not necessarily Q bidding at this level. I mean, we found it because this is still a game try, right? So 3 clubs at this point is not necessarily a slam try. It can serve both purposes, right? It can be a game try and it could be a slam try. But opener thinks at this point that you're just looking for game, right? Because you haven't even begun to show the strength of your hand, right? All you did was respond to spades so far. Now you've made a bid above, 2 spades, so partner's like, okay, well, you're at least interested in game over there. But it could be that you're always going to game and that you're interested in slam and you're just trying to see what you can find out. So,
should the fact that you have 7 losers in your hand and you're assuming partner is minimum and therefore they have 7 losers just keep you from going anywhere to begin with?
Well, you don't know. Yeah, we would estimate that partner has a 7 loser hand. But how do we know? I mean, partner might have only a 6 loser hand, right? Okay. I mean, partner might have a singleton over there. What if partner had a singleton heart? Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we can also construct a lot of minimum hands where slam is very good, right? Singleton diamond might work too. I don't like that as much because that means that our king isn't worth a lot. Singleton heart, at least opposite the ace of hearts, we would have no heart losers. And we know partner's actually got some clubs over there because they opened a club. So.
And you're saying that 3 clubs is not a cube?
It could be. But it looks like more of a naturalish kind of game try. I mean, yes, you happen to have the ace of clubs here. So a bid like 3 clubs can serve different purposes, right?
But your partner doesn't know that.
Your partner doesn't know that. But that's okay. Because you are asking for information, right? You're trying to find out. At this stage, you are, whether you like it or not, you are the captain of the auction. Because partner has opened the bidding and has now limited the opening hand with a raise to only 2 spades, right? So remember that when one person, as soon as one, you have not limited your hand on this auction. Opener has. So whomever is first to limit, it's the other person that is at that point the captain, right? So yeah, so partner doesn't know what you're up to with 3 clubs. Most of the time, this is just a game try. So that's how it looks at this point. So they can either choose to cooperate or not cooperate with the game try. And then they can, and if they are going to cooperate, well, yeah, they could do, are you the one that suggested 4 spades? That came from gonna say you suggested that. Okay. So yeah, so four spades would say, oh, okay, I'm definitely accepting a game try, although you haven't necessarily said much about your hand in the process. That's one possibility. But if partner jumps to four spades, now at this stage, you probably would use key card. Again, no guarantees, but at least if partner's accepting the game try, we figure that's not just a balanced 12 or 13 count over there, right? It's either got some shape to it, or it's at the top of the range if it's more balanced. It's probably 14, right? Either one of those scenarios is going to make you more interested in slaying. All right. So yeah, well, maybe it's not ideal. Okay, well, trot out my 4-no now. All right, you know, you're not necessarily going to be able to count 12 tricks, but you're a little more comfortable giving this a shot, right?
Kirk, could the 3 diamonds also mean you're void in it? You don't have the ace, but you're void, or no? Only showing an ace.
I wouldn't be inclined. I mean, maybe I wouldn't be inclined to go that route. But that's actually a good segue into some of our control bidding, which we want to talk about. So, what about the hierarchy? And I want to focus on, and then we'll see if we can do this before we get into a break. But one of the pages in your packet talks about cue bidding, and when we're looking at cue bidding, you know, we're asking all the questions they gave us in journalism class. You know, who, what, when, where, why, right? Kind of doing the same thing with your, you know, there's all of those questions about cue bidding. I think the most important of those, when, we're really going to focus on the when and the how. The why, we've kind of addressed over here, right? Sometimes you have a flawed hand, whether it's a void or quick loser somewhere, that makes the hand less than ideal for just going into 4-0. So the when. So the thing is, we need a trump fit. Let's say we're having an auction like this. Just a simple kind of 2/1. Partner opens a spade. We set up our game force with 2 clubs. They rebid their spades, presumably a 6-card suit. Now we bid 3 diamonds. Is 3 diamonds a cue bid? No, we haven't found a suit fit. At least we haven't confirmed a suit fit. We don't even know what game we're playing yet, right? What if responder with no spade fit and a minor suit oriented hand needs opener to be the one to bid 3-0 because you don't have a heart card, right? So we're still looking for the best game at this point. And that is always the priority because we don't have enough slams to make slam a priority. This is the so-called game before slam principle. We're always looking for the best game first. We got to figure out where we're going to play our game. Then we get into dealing with slam when it's appropriate. All right, let's change this auction just a little bit. What is 4 clubs by the opener?
A control.
That's a cue bid. Yeah. You may, in fact, have a double fit. You might have a club fit with a responder, but that's not the priority because we found a fit in the major. And so trumps became set when 2 spades got raised to 3. And we're still below the game level, right? And so this is when we want to do our cue bidding. And this doesn't mean that the opener has a huge hand. The responder doesn't have to have a huge hand. If either one of you has just a little bit of slam interest, like, well, it could be there. Probably not, but it could be. That's all we're doing here. We're probing. We're going to 4 spades anyhow, right? So what's the harm in showing the control? Even with a fairly minimum opening hand, you can do this and say, hey, you did bid 2 clubs first. Maybe you have king, queen, 5th or king, jack, 5th or something like that. You might want to know that I have the ace, because if you're giving any thought to slam, I have a very good working card for you that will help you. On the other hand, maybe responder just barely had a game force. Although we would think about using fast arrival here. So theoretically, 3 spades at this point rather than 4 spades shows a better hand, right? 3 spades doesn't necessarily say you have slam interest. It's saying, hey, I didn't totally stretch you, right? It's saying, I would conceivably cooperate with the slam try if you're interested, partner. Well, partner makes a cue bid, and you go back to 4 spades, then you can convey, yeah, I'm not that interested.
I was only kidding.
I was only kidding, yes.
Yeah.
Everybody's favorite line in bridge. I was just kidding.
Just kidding.
Can't you take a joke, partner?
He was also asking, are you sure
Yeah.
it should be a game?
I was just kidding when I opened. I only have 10. I was in 3rd seat. Hopefully if you're opening in 3rd seat, partner's not making a slam try as they previously passed in. But, and so that's where your cue bidding comes in. And so until we have a trump fit, we can't really be cue bidding. Now, let's look at a slightly different situation. So opener started with a heart, and then after you responded to spade, jumped to 3 hearts. That's known to be better than a minimum hand, right? Not forcing, usually about 16, 17-ish, right? With 6 hearts, right? This is now at least a 6-card suit, and probably a pretty good suit. And now responder bids 4 clubs. What is 4 clubs? Now, responder, you haven't technically agreed hearts at any point, have you? However, now remember, 3 hearts was not forcing. You could have passed. If this is just a misfit hand and you don't want to be in game, you can pass 3 hearts. If you want to try a game but you have 0 slam interest, you can raise 3 hearts to 4. If you don't have a heart fit, but you've got stuff everywhere else, you could offer 3 no, right? These are all possibilities for you. And yet you did none of those. You bid 4 clubs. Even if you have, say, 5 spades and 5 clubs, are you really going to find a club fit and want to play in a minor on a hand like this? Seems pretty unlikely, right? Partner is showing you a 1-suited hand. Partner's saying, I'm about hearts. And usually on these kinds of auctions, we're almost always playing in partner's suit, the suit that they jump rebid, or on occasion, maybe 3 no. Right? Thinking, maybe partner's suit will run in no trump. But other contracts, and for those of you who did that, well, yeah, actually most of you, one way or the other, got some of the language of bridge content, either here or over at at Metro. And this is one of those things where Woolsey goes through the narrowing down of contracts. I mean, we've kind of done that here too, as we narrow the target to possible contracts. Even though responder bid spades and clubs, those are probably not really playable contracts, right? They're not, we're not thinking about playing game or slam. Now, it could be that responder is crazy distributional. 6 spades and 6 clubs, something like that. So it's not completely out of the picture, but it's unlikely, usually at this stage. So 4 clubs tends to imply a control that would cooperate with a possible heart slam, right? I mean, responder could have a really good hand here with something like Queen Doubleton or King Doubleton maybe of hearts, a really good holding that would fill out partner's trump suit. You might not be doing this if you just had a small singleton in hearts, but if you had a good doubleton, you very well might. So that's kind of where, it's process of deduction here. It's like, if we can ask us, okay, why would partner do that? Why would partner bid 4 clubs? That bid doesn't seem to serve a whole lot of purpose here unless they have some slam interest. So we can have possible slam interest in a situation where you did not explicitly show the trump fit. But now when you bid 4 clubs, you imply it. You've gone past 3, no, right? So you're kind of prepared to play 4 hearts, it looks like.
And now on your control, is that the ace or is that first, second round control?
Okay, so that's the other piece that we want to talk about here before we take a break. Is what are we showing when we show controls?
So that's the what?
Right. Yeah, or the how. How do we cue bid? Yeah. So what could we conceivably cue bid? Well, an ace or a king, that would be a strength control. And then we also have shortness as a possibility. Now again, we have to have an established suit fit if we're going to think about showing a shortness control, right? Because if we haven't found a fit, and we might land in no trump, all of a sudden a void or a singleton is not such an asset anymore, right? So, what can you show? Now, ultimately, this is going to be partnership agreement, but I would encourage you to almost always have your control, certainly your first round of control bidding, be strength. Ace or king. We typically think of cue bidding an ace before cue bidding a king, but you don't have to. That's partnership agreement. It's a very, I think it's Italian style. They freely cue bids.
Must be right.
Yeah, I guess that's what you're doing, huh? But the Italians would typically freely cue bid aces and kings equally. In other words, they were probably cue bidding what was cheapest, what was most economical in their auction. Mm-hmm. So that's the question of, if you have the king of clubs and the ace of diamonds, do you bypass the club and cue bid your diamond first? Or do you cue bid your club first? And it doesn't necessarily matter a whole lot as if partner knows. I really try to cue bid an ace first. If I want to cooperate with a slam try, but I don't have an ace, I might cue bid a king. The good news is that after we do our cue bidding, we can usually sort out the ace stuff with our key card later, right? And that's kind of the thinking of it, in the Italian structure is they're like, yeah, we cue bid aces and kings equally, and then we can sort the rest out. If we go on to slam after a round of cue bidding, we can sort the rest out and actually find out if we're missing any aces or not with the response to 4 no.
Do you have to have a king little or a king something, or you can just have a singleton king?
mean, I would think that it would be a protected honor. On the other hand, what if it's a singleton honor in a suit that partner is known to hold? That could be a valuable card. So, and then, and you might want to Q-bid it. Whether you're Q-bidding it because it's a king or whether you're Q-bidding it because it's a singleton and it's a second round control, partner doesn't necessarily know. It is okay to Q-bid shortness, but I really don't think it should be your first Q-bid.
So I have no aces, no kings, but I'm void. I can't.
Sometimes
Q-bid.
you're stuck. Like
Yeah,
sometimes you
behind.
have a hand that is a slam try, but what if a lot of your values are in the trump suit, right? Because remember, when we're getting into Q-bidding, we're discussing cards outside of the trump suit. What if you have great trumps? I mean, what if partner opened a heart and you have ace, king, queen of hearts, right? Well, that's, a good chunk of it. So partner's hearts are bad, right? Partner's hearts are 5 to the jack or 5 to the 10, but you don't care because you've got all that. But what if outside of that, you don't necessarily have controls, right? You don't have aces, but you have a singleton. Would you Q-bid the singleton? Yeah, if you want to keep the bidding going, and partner will probably assume that you're Q-bidding strength. But if they're, what if you Q-bid something and partner has ace king in that suit? Now they're going to know that you're Q-bidding shortness. And maybe if they hold ace king there, maybe that's not the greatest thing for them to hear. But we also could have a situation where shortness is known. So how would you take, and we all play Jacoby to know, right? All right, let's say we're just playing the standard Jacoby to know. All right, let's say the auction proceeds this way, right? So in standard Jacoby to know, 3 clubs is shortness, right? Singleton or void, we usually assume singleton. So what if the auction continues that way? Now this is looking like a slam try, right? At least some mild slam interest by responder, right? 2-no confirmed the game force with 4 spades. You showed club shortness, and partner now bid 3 hearts, which could be a second suit, but more likely is a is a control, right? Because we already know we're playing in spades, so we established our suit fit. So 3 hearts is like, okay, I'm going along with this. Maybe 6 spades is there on this hand. So you bid 3 hearts. Now opener bids 4 clubs. Well, we already know they have club shortness, right? What does 4 clubs look like at this point of the auction?
Singleton ace.
It's either a singleton ace or it's a void, right? Does 4 clubs not doesn't it absolutely have to be first round control? I think more likely it's a club void. But it could be singleton ace. That is also a possibility. But if your singleton were singleton ace, would you not cooperate with the slam try? So here there's no ambiguity to it, right? You're not Q-bidding a king. If you held singleton king here, I don't think I'd be so excited to Q-bid it, right? But if you can tell partner who's clearly interested in a spade slam, yeah, I do have, I don't just have a small singleton, I have first round control of that suit.
So wouldn't they, how is that different from bidding a splinter if they have,
Well, I mean, three clubs. Splinter shows the fit. So since we've had a Jacoby auction, there's not going to be a splinter per se. Those 2 approaches are kind of mutually exclusive. We might have a splinter auction or we might have a Jacoby auction, but either one is going to confirm 4-card support for openers major.